Hey everybody, Christopher Small here with CMS Law Firm, and we are back for another video lesson. Today, I wanted to talk about the hidden side of estate planning. So when people usually think about estate planning, they just think about wills and trusts and like what happens when you die. But there's a whole other side of estate planning that is probably more important and can have more of an impact on you and your family that people don't think about, that people don't plan for, and that can really catch you off guard if you're not careful. And that is the side when you are living but incapacitated, okay? So the way I always describe it is there's sort of two easy scenarios where this happens. A, you're in a car accident and you're in a coma, or B, you have Alzheimer's and you don't know what you're doing, right? Estate planning covers this scenario as well. And like I said, it can have tremendous impacts on you and your family if you're not prepared. Let me give you one perfect example of how this really can have a huge impact. I got a call, this was a couple months ago at least, from a woman who was frantic. Okay, she was in distress. And what had happened was her husband had a stroke. And he had not died, obviously, he had a stroke, but he was in the hospital. He had severely limited mental facilities at the time, right? I don't know if it was going to be a super long-term scenario with not a lot of recovery or not, but it doesn't really matter for what we're talking about. The reason why this had such a huge impact for her was that the way that their relationship was set up was the husband had a lot of the bank accounts in just his name. And they shared everything and did all those things, but the bank accounts, for whatever reason, just maybe when they got set up, were just in his name. So now that he had this stroke and was unable to do anything, the wife or the spouse, she had no access to any of the money. She couldn't pay the mortgage, she couldn't get groceries, like she could not do any of these things because her husband had retained and held on to all of the powers with the bank account, and now that he was incapacitated, unable to do anything, she was left out in the cold. She was scrambling. She was wondering what to do. The solution for her, unfortunately, is going to be having to go to court, to have the court appoint her as a guardian over his not his estate, over his person, essentially, and then give her the authority to go and act on his behalf and transact on his behalf with the banks and with everything else that they had set up. We don't want that to happen. That is the worst case scenario. That takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money. Obviously, can you imagine the emotional distress that causes people? And so there is a solution. It's a simple solution, and it's called the power of attorney, okay? Power of attorney is a document that you sign that allows the person that you name to basically act on your behalf. Access bank accounts, pay rent, do all of the normal things that you would do on a day-to-day basis if you can't do them. And when we create them for our clients, we always do them for spouses, spouse to spouse, right? So even if you have everything set up, even if you think everything is great and you don't need this, it's there just in case, because you never know. Banks don't like to say yes to anything. So the more protection that you can have, the more planning that you've done to sort of take care of a scenario like this, the better. Okay, there are a couple of other ones too that you need. Number 2 is going to be medical power of attorney. It's going to cover the same thing except health-related decisions. Now, if you're married, healthcare power of attorney or medical power of attorney may not be as necessary. They may give you some latitude there because it's your spouse, but you don't want to be in a situation where someone's telling you no because you haven't created the proper paperwork and done something that is relatively easy to do. Then last but not least, covering sort of the living side of estate planning is called healthcare directive, okay? So healthcare directive is basically, you are a vegetable essentially, do you want to pull the plug or not? And what this document does is it just states your intent so that your medical, your medical power of attorney knows what you want to do in that scenario, so they have that certainty. And then there's also no room for conflict or argument over what you would have wanted amongst everyone else in your family. All right, so don't forget about this other side of estate planning. If you are thinking about creating your plan, or if you've got a plan, This is something that's really important. It's the thing that's going to really reduce, again, that emotional distress for your family if you are ever injured in a car accident and in a coma, if you ever have a stroke or a heart attack or something else that leaves you sort of debilitated for some amount of time. These are the things that are going to really make a difference in your life. So that's it. So again, if you enjoyed this video, as always, please hit the like button. If you know someone that needs to hear this information, please share it with them. And that's it. I'm Christopher Small with CMS Law Firm. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making them. And you know, I have one goal here. That's just to educate, to inform, to empower you, to protect your family, to take care of your life, and to set yourself up for success. All right, that's it. Have a great day. I'll probably see you again tomorrow.